Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ryan Gutierrez, aka Gutex, here with episode number 9 of the Street Fighter podcast. Today, I have a very special guest who was in my neighborhood. He is basically the Michael Jordan of Street Fighter. He won the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2000 for his accomplishments in Street Fighter. Last year, he got third in Third Strike at EVO. He also was the first American to beat Daigo. Yes, that Daigo on American soil. In 2006, he beat him at EVO in Third Strike and in Anniversary Edition. And he also qualified to go to the very first SBO in Japan with Pyro Lee and Paul Lee back in 2001. Today, my guest is none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Alex Valle.
How you doing, everybody? What's going on?
So Alex is up here because we are working on a super top secret project, which we can talk about a little bit, but we can just say that there's going to be some written words coming from Alex Valle himself.
Yes, about time, huh?
About time.
About time.
I mean, you've been in the game for how long?
First competitive tournament, 1995. 1995 in Las Vegas. Yeah.
So more than 13 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen like everything imaginable in the scene, ups and downs, everything in between. I mean, tell me about how it was when you first got started.
Well, when I first got started, it was coin op, which was arcade was the fad then. Okay, all our tournaments were there. And I would consider myself at that time a second generation Street Fighter player because I excelled at the alpha games over the predecessors, which were Super Turbos, Hyper Fighters, and Champion Editions. So although I played them, but Alpha, the Street Fighter Alpha series, is where I shined. Where I shined at.
The Alpha series were the first games that you played competitively to that level.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
So, I mean, back then, was the scene as big as it is now? I mean, what was it like? I mean, you didn't have things like YouTube or, videos to study. There was no internet. I mean, how did you guys learn things? How did you share information?
Well,
how did everybody get better?
At the time when Champion Edition came out, every arcade machine that Champion Edition, there was like 10 machines to an arcade of Champion Edition alone, had over 10 to 15 people minimum on in each of those games.
Wow.
So it was that popular. I mean, you would have all sorts of scrubs, and of course you'd have a top player to each machine. I was pretty good, but I wasn't known. Nobody was really known then from when I was starting out. I mean, I didn't know of Tomo or Jeff Schaefer or Mike Watson at the time. I was what, 13. Okay. I was 13, and the widespread of competition, it was just everywhere you turned. Everywhere you turned had people playing the game. If you wanted to see who was playing at another arcade or at 7-Eleven, why not, what have you, you would have the competition there. It's served right there. Compared to today, it's a whole different spectrum. The arcades are not around anymore like they were. 7-Elevens and other convenience stores. There's no more coin-operated video games there. Now it's all console or online based. So, and it's looking for competition is throughout forums. It's not word of mouth anymore. Now everybody either is known. You can read about it on a wiki or some kind of you can Google somebody's name. You can go on Shoryuken, Tekken Zaibatsu, the VF channels, anything. And IRC, you can look that up. But the player base as for casual gamers versus back then to today is not existent.
Because back then, you could walk literally down the street to 7-Eleven and play. So where was the best place to play back then? You mentioned Coin Up?
Oh, for a Coin Up, I didn't meet Mike Watson till when Alpha 1 was released. My friend Tao Duong, introduced me to Mike, and he brought him to one of my old arcades. This is basically where my training grounds were before Southern Hills Golfline. It was called Beach and Warner Arcade.
And where was that at?
This was in Huntington Beach, off of Beach and Warner. We just called it Beach and Warner Arcade. And I would spend my days and nights there playing any Street Fighter that came out, or Mortal Kombat's, or Puzzle Fighter, anything that the Darkstalkers series, Fatal Furies, the first couple of King of Fighters.
So I mean, how old were you back then? I mean, when you were playing at Beach and Warner.
Say about 14, 15, around there. That's about 15 years ago. You guys do the math. Yeah, it was a 15 years ago trip, man. But
so what was it like meeting Watson for the first time?
I at that time, competition and tournaments and being starstruck or just like knowing about a good player, I didn't really get it until I got the beat down. Like Watson really came in there and just like said, "Who is this little Mexican guy? He doesn't even know me or whatever." I just knew he had that like talking shit persona, which at the time everybody likes talking shit back then, man. And he just beat me up with Guy. I didn't know what the hell to do. He just knew all these little tricks, so standing forward, bush and grab, and his footies are really, really good. And I just never played a player like that consistent ever. And I wasn't too far behind, but I mean, the consistency of a player like that made me think like, oh, there's people like that out there. So it was cool, and I was very, very, there's a benefit that I live down here, that's playing the top players.
Right. I mean, Watson was, king of Monterey Park, at least. So he was like the best. Was he the best guy up here in, San Gabriel Valley, LA area?
From what I heard, okay, him, Tomo, Jeff Schaefer would go to, and Martin Vega, and a couple other heads I didn't really meet. I just heard of, because I didn't really travel outside of Orange County. This is where I played at, because LA and Orange County are different areas. Okay, within maybe from a half hour to an hour away. Okay, and I was what?
Yeah, when you're 14, 15, that might as well be another part of the country.
Exactly. You're not going there. But those were the for sure winners. Watson, Tomo, and Jeff. They would go to every arcade and just like stay on one machine with typically one quarter and just wait for somebody to beat them. But they were that good. I saw firsthand they were that good.
How long would these win streaks last when they would go?
Well, typically till somebody's hungry. I mean, like if they want to go eat, like Watson's hungry or something, he'll like get off the machine and just he'll go eat, and he'll like give his game up or whatever. They were that good, man. I mean, they would only lose to the same people they play. Like, in the old school times, it was them, like Schaefer or Tomo or something. They would. That was the only people that would really beat them. I didn't see too much of their game. I'll tell you the truth. I have not seen Tomo's game at all. I've only seen Jeff's and Watson's. So, I mean, I can tell about what they were telling me about this Tomo guy.
Tomo Ohira.
Yes. What they were telling me, the much respect they were giving this guy, I'd automatically have to believe it, because, I mean, I couldn't even shave a game off of Mike the first time I played him. Why would he lie to me about some other guy telling him that this guy is better than them, at the time. But, Watson was inevitably, like, he was the best. After Tomo retired, it was Watson. Like, he won all the big tournaments down here, all the old school ones.
So, I mean, what were the tournaments like? I mean, back then? How many people would come out?
Let's say Southern Hills Golfline tournaments. That's when the mainstream of now more people know about competitive like tournaments.
What year was this?
This was 96. Okay, we're going on 96. Given that, I mean, it might not be that old school for older players, but when more competition, like there was more monthly tournaments per se, it would easily come from 32 to 64. 64 was the like staple, and it turned out to be when Marvel came around.
Marvel 1 or 2?
2. Okay, it became like 84 to 102 to 112. Wow. Yeah. Alpha 3 had about like 95, 98, around there. People come in. And this is just a little arcade.
Right.
You know?
So, you know, you mentioned that your first tournament experience was going to Vegas.
Yes.
Tell me about the very first. Tell me about that.
Okay, I was starting to get into the clique with, Watson and Schaefer. You know, they saw me and, they knew I had some potential. I played with them. Okay. Maybe they didn't think I was that great or whatever, but they knew I had some potential. But I went along with them. They were hella cool people at the time. Okay. I mean, they're so cool people now, but, I mean, I was excited. You know, we went to Vegas. I'm there.
Oh, you went with them?
Yeah, I went with them.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. And,
how old were you guys?
Well, I was the youngest guy for sure, but I would say I was like 24. I would say I would be like 16. I think I was 16 then.
Watson and Schaefer were
okay,
like 18?
Yeah, around there. It's like 18, and Schaefer was probably about like 20, 21.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Schaefer was older, and that's way older.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But yeah, so we went to Vegas, and I met APOC and PSI from New York, yeah, and a handful of other players, and also that's where I met my future arch rival John Choi for the first time. I heard about him, like, hey, there's this guy from NorCal. This is like the whole NorCal SoCal type of grudge that I've seen for the first time. I just heard stories like, people talking shit to each other, and I'm like, oh, okay, but this is where it actually gets heated. This is where it gets personal. Yeah, so I was doing well in the tournament, and I played. The only person I lost to actually was John. I lost to him twice, but I got fourth. And I'm thinking,
how many people turned out to this tournament?
It was about 32, I think. It was about 32. It wasn't that big.
But you had some big name players.
Yeah, there were some big name players. Before that tournament, there was a Super Turbo tournament. I mean, I didn't enter. I wasn't even that good at that game. At the time, Painter was there, Romney was there. Those were San Diego classics. Watson and all the other players were there. But see, while they were playing that tournament, I was focusing on Alpha 1. I was just making sure that, everything that I did is going to work. Or everything that I practiced for was going to work at this tournament. So it's funny, too, that this tournament was my first. It's play for your own game, quarter a game, whatever. I ran out of quarters, so I had to ask people, like, hey, can I have a quarter so I can say, oh, who you playing next? Oh, okay, you're gonna win that one. Because some people were cheering me on because I'm just like this random kid, doing well. And then I lose to John. John, I never played somebody that conservative that he just makes you want to get him. He just like, it feels like from the beginning of the round to the end of the round, you're always chasing him. And no matter what you do, it's like it just wears you down and wears you down. And that's the epitome of his style. He's so conservative that it makes you it makes you play out of your game. You can't. I mean, it's almost like a robot. You can't malfunction that thing, But I learned a lot. I learned a lot of different styles and playing under pressure. As a kid, and it just suited me up for what's to come.
So after you made a really good showing at your first tournament in Vegas, where did it go after that?
After that, there was, of course, a big break. No tournaments were coming up until.
Why was that?
Well, they were waiting for Alpha 2. I didn't even hear that Alpha 2 was out yet. But there was some down, like, because NorCal would get the earlier versions of Street Fighter, because Capcom,
Right, because they would
Capcom of
beta
America
test
were
it
there. Yeah, it was over there. They would get the early editions. Mike or Jeff would make these random drives to play the early editions somewhere. Or maybe they played at another arcade I didn't even know it existed. But this is the time where I transitioned from playing from Beach and Warner Arcade to Southern Hills Golfland. Okay. And Southern Hills Golfland is when, I saw there was tokens there and really cool staff. Nice, cool management. John Balon, the SHGL boss, if you know him by his SRK name or whatever. They were really for the players. They fixed their controllers. They had the best controllers in tip-top condition, and Alpha 2 was there, and I was learning to play it there. And I was just on that game. It's like, I was possessed to play that game because it just suited my style. I always wanted to attack somebody, and I was rewarded for it. So when tournaments came around for that game, I didn't lose. I didn't even lose one major tournament at all for that game.
Wow. So, Watson and Jeff Schaefer, they couldn't touch you in Alpha 2.
No, not at all. It's just I can see the transition, from what they're used to in old school. They weren't really technical with the combos, not too much, or super combos. Comboing a normal into a super. I saw that as a problem for some of these players still, and I learned how to do that in Alpha 1. Chain. Because they had chain combos Alpha 1, and I comboed into supers. I didn't really see them doing that, so I maximized my opportunities, the damage ratio for everything, every opportunity. If they miss an uppercut and I can combo, I'm going to do the most ridiculous combo they have. And that put me a little bit on top. Just learning the footsie games, the zones, the mental strength to withstand a deficit and winning at the end of the round. I learned most of that from Watson because, he's like the premier Shoto player. Who's the best to learn, a Shoto player from? Why not him? And just playing him every day or whenever a tournament comes, I just saw where I can excel. And my style was overly aggressive that even no matter how many times somebody would counter me from, jumping in or whatever, I'm going to land a super combo on you or something. At that time, landing supers or getting accustomed was more rewarding than being on defense because you don't get that much damage off of defending here, a shot here or shot 2. Maybe counter super, yeah. But I'm, getting a super in Alpha 2, you're going to dish out a lot of damage even on a level 1 custom combos, what have you.
Right. Okay, so after Alpha 2, then here comes Alpha 3.
Alpha 3, it was basically set up for me, trying to play Alpha 3 like Alpha 2 was you build a foundation, you try to play a previous game or try to play a new game like the previous game. They switched it up a lot. They got so technical with the game that they took away crouching roundhouse to fireball. That was the first game they took that away from. So we thought this is not old school anymore. They got these worthless V-isms. You can't really combo much. Now you really got to think what to land. Maybe 2 hits here, 3 hits here, or make a shadow trap or something. But then there's a guard meter too. I'm what the hell is this? Oh, we can break the guard. So that's the first thing, I took notice. I wonder if this is going to affect the gameplay more than just hitting somebody. So, that's how I started to play the game. I broke somebody. My goal was just to break people's guards first and see how they react to a blinking meter. and then build a strategy around that, and then it worked. Like everybody was afraid. I was very ultra aggressive, so everybody's just gonna mash buttons to keep me away, and it just created a whole new door of whoop ass, man.
Would you say that Alpha 3 was the peak of the Street Fighter scene as a whole?
The peak, for you know what I would say, coin op, arcades, yeah, because CVS2 and Marvel is a different story because that was the only game that actually, even if you started to play that game in coin op, there's still a big audience in console. Alpha 2, Alpha 1, Alpha 3, none of those games transitioned to, you don't have a big following on console.
Right.
Like Marvel. CVS2, you have a decent amount. You started it on coin op, and then you go to console. Yeah, people are still kind of following up on it. We had a lot of evils with CVS2. We actually, last Evo we still had CVS2. So Alpha 3 would be just coin op, would be the peak of where the big numbers came out.
Mm-hmm.
CVS 1, people overlooked it. It looked
Right.
like it felt like Capcom Fighting Jam. Nobody really,
Right.
really looked at it. Some people played it, but it wasn't a lot of people's cup of tea.
So, tell me about, let's say the peak of Alpha 3, which was, would you say, when Daigo came over here?
Okay. Yeah. Here we go again to like something. Okay, this is something extraordinary. From B3, for Alpha 2, I beat John. This is the first time I ever beat John. Okay, and I was really excited about that, and it just built momentum. Okay, to like win everything else, whatever game. Alpha 3 came around, did the same thing. I beat all the players. That all the top players that I've known. That I either feared or I had some thoughts that maybe they can win, but no, I took them down until now. There's a world tournament. Like now, I get to play somebody foreign, somebody I have no idea about. And here comes Daigo. I don't know.
Did you hear rumors?
I heard nothing. About who this kid was or whatnot. The only thing I heard is that their tournaments had like 10,000 people. I'm thinking the most I've seen in one place at the time was about 100 120, around there, 120. It was like an ECC tournament or something. It was nuts because what do you do to prepare for a guy, a kid that beat 10,000 people? Like you're thinking, oh, he beat 10,000 people. He's better than 10,000 people. He's the guy that just whooped everybody. Now I get it. Hopefully I get a chance to play him. We're in the tournament now, the world tournament for
Where
the
was
US.
that?
Oh, it was in San Jose, Nickel Arcade. It was me and Graham Wolf for the finals, and yeah, it's also on YouTube, of course, and I won, and while Daigo was back there watching, and we played, and it was everything, everything.
Wait, but you beat Graham to win the tournament, and then you had to play Daigo?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, so in Japan, they had like the Japanese counterpart of this tournament, which Daigo won, beat 10,000 people. He comes over here to America to play the winner, to play the best in America.
Correct.
So you beat Graham Wolf to play Daigo.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
Alpha 3. Holy
Right.
crap. Okay, so you beat Graham Wolf, and then then here comes Daigo.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was the best setup. It was a sit down. Daigo had his Japanese setup, and on my side, I'm apart. This was on a grand, like virtual fighter style cabinet where you sit down and the big screen is like 5 feet away. It's a showcase, big showcase cabinet, and I had my American sticks. Okay, and at that point, I'm thinking, okay, I heard he's a Shoto player. He plays Akuma. You know, everything that I learned, like from Alpha 1, Alpha 2, and how to maintain that type of, like, okay, I haven't played this guy before, so I'm thinking that he plays like Watson or he plays like Choi or a mixture of both. Okay?
Because those were the two best Shotos in America.
Exactly. So he's going to play like them. If not a little bit faster or maybe like me, but, who plays like me? I'm a little more crazy. So we play. And, I knew by winning. Actually, the first round he beat me. The second round I beat him. Yeah, I knew that. Like, oh, you know what? Beyond the tricks yet, because we haven't even done the tricks yet. I can beat him on the ground game. I have a stronger ground game than this kid.
Your footsies were better.
Yes, my footsies was better. If you watch the full video, you can see me without the custom combos, just sweeping him, tripping him, getting around his bullcrap. But it was set to 3 out of 5 rounds. Yeah, it's crazy.
Why?
This was their standard. We were supposed to do two styles of tournaments within this matchup with me and Daigo. First style was the standard Japanese, and second was American. So we were supposed to play one game, and that's it. And then the other one we're supposed to do 2 out of 3. Actually, it was 2 out of 3 first, and then the one game. We didn't even get to play the last format because time ran out or whatnot. That's why the look on my face was like, "What? I thought we were supposed to play 2 sets of tournaments, but we didn't." But when we played, he adapted really well to even my footsies. His Vism combo at the time was much superior. He can do a full screen. We didn't know that. He just capitalized on all those opportunities, which I was inexperienced basically. But I just beat him from standard traditional Street Fighter, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. He really showed what a character full potential is like, and it's refreshing to me. It's like, wow, like I can't win them all. This is out there. This person exists.
Daigo is that guy.
Yeah, this person exists. Because before then, there was nobody even within a realm of beating me in any Street Fighter from that time. None. And then here comes Daigo, and it's like, now I feel like I have to start over. Because what is it going to take to beat somebody like that next time? Because he's going to level up as much as I want to, or vice versa.
So, you had a tough loss, but, you learned a lot from the experience, and it revitalizes you and gives you this new energy to improve. How did things change after that?
Oh, there's a lot. Okay, some good history about this. Shortly after that tournament, there was a rematch invitational. Not many people know about that. I was invited by some tournament organizers over there in Japan, and of course Kuni as the liaison, because he spoke English and he knew us. So I got the invite. I wasn't a citizen of the country yet. Okay. So this was very, very odd. I had to get the time off from my work. I had to go to the Peruvian embassy to get an emergency passport to go to this, because this tournament was like within a couple months away. So it was like bam, 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 do it quick style. John hears about it, calls me up, and he's like, "Dude, I'm going." I'm like, "All right, great." So John and I both go. We get there.
At this point, you and John were no longer arch rivals, but you respect each other.
Well, yeah, I know we're going way ahead, but John and I, after B3, I actually took the initiative to make friends with, my rivals, because at the time, the old school heads, they would tell me, "Dude, you better not this is before B3. They're all like, dude, you better not lose to no NorCal. You better not lose to here, or or you're gonna move back there. You're gonna stay there. Fuck that. They're just feeding me all this like hate mail, man. Like, you better not fucking lose. So
Stakes were higher back then.
yeah, or you're fucking no longer SoCal and all this shit. So okay, big pride, okay. But after the events of B3, we were the first tournament that I went to, actually cross country, was the Midwest Championships. Okay, this was 1997. I got a standby ticket. It was a good deal. It was like $25 to go to Chicago, but it's standby. I don't know what the fuck that meant at the time. I never flew that. And Choi got one, and Rob Ingram got one. My friend Rob Ingram, and my old friend Mark Acero got one. So we flew on that thing, and we met up at Arizona, and I saw John on the phone, and I was about to say, "Hey, John, hey, what's up, man?" And John's looking at me with this, "Alex, we looked at the flight. We can't get on. I'm trying to trying to find a ride home right now because we can't even get to Chicago at this point." So, long story short, John and I and the rest of the crew were with Rob and Mark. We went to different airports. We flew standby to different airports just to get to Chicago. So from Arizona, we went to Colorado, Las Vegas, and then.
So you guys were like 17, 18?
No, I was. Okay. John was older than Watson. He's like 3 years older. He's like 20.
Oh,
I
okay.
think. But we got to Chicago, but we built a relationship there. We like,
because you went through.
all this struggle. Yeah, we even met. APOC was nice enough to pick us up during that time. A cool cat too, of course. Always been good to me. We actually stayed at Choi's sister's house at the time. I think it was in was it Arizona or Colorado? I think something. I forget, man. That's a long time ago. And we get to Chicago. I missed the X-Men versus Street Fighter tournament. I was gonna win that. Okay, somebody else won that, and I was just playing without sleep. I didn't do well in Alpha 2. I lost early in Alpha 2, the game that I was really good at. But this is a lot of history was made on that tournament. This is where my screen name was made.
Cali Power.
Yeah. There was this guy named Twitchy that played Street Fighter 3 that nobody liked. Like, he was a Yang player. Whenever he would play, he would slam and dance and stuff, whatever. He'd make all these little weird twitchy movements with his head, so we called him Twitchy. There was a bounty on his head for whoever beat him gets a certain amount of money or whatever. But I beat him, and John eventually eliminated him. But when I beat him, I yelled out, "Cali Power, motherfucker!" So we beat him. Yeah. But I know I went kind of long on that one. I forgot what you previously said.
You and Choi went to Japan for this
Japan.
invitational tournament.
Yeah.
For the rematch against Daigo.
Right. It was actually a tournament, a Japanese tournament. It wasn't it wasn't a big hall. Okay, we're used to tournaments in an arcade. And we're looking at this thing. I was like, wow, it's pretty crazy. But when it was our turn, we had to play on. No, they try to cater us by putting American sticks, but on Japanese console, on their panels.
Mm.
Now, if you were to play on that, this is what happens. You move the controller, the whole panel jumps. So does your character, or it bounces so much. There's so much weight on that 360 that you can't do your moves with your character at all. It's unplayable. So what happens is they try to raise the stick or something to make it lighter, but now it made it look like a fighter plane stick. Like, the stick was so high, and then also it was so heavy that it would dangle. Yeah, so we opted just to try to play on the Japanese sticks, but then we don't have any experience playing on Japanese sticks, so we did really poor. So it was a learning experience. Of what's to come when the Japanese are finally starting to come to the evolutions or the B5s. How are we gonna set up an coin op like that? And it's expensive. You have to get a Japanese cabinet and an American. and it just it prepared like the Evo staff for an event like
For
that.
accommodating the Japanese.
Exactly, accommodating the Japanese. So that's what happened there, and I did poor. John did poor. We couldn't do anything. It was
Right.
it was like it was embarrassing. It was like damn.
Came all the way over here for
Yeah,
this.
exactly. And we stayed there for one day because it was like a weekend thing, and it takes a day to travel to Japan.
Wow.
It was a weekend thing. We stayed for a day and we came back. Just for the
Oh my God, you guys are pioneers.
yeah, we fuck it, overnight, dude. We want to go to Japan? Let's fucking go. Let's go. So we did that.
So fast forward to, the B3, B4, B5.
B4 was the events after like say the whole Daigo, after Daigo came, and this is around 2000.
I mean, these for anybody who doesn't know, these were the predecessors to Evo.
Yes, the B series, like it started as B3 Battle by the Bay, and then they had a B2 was called the Boston Brawl, which was after B3. Okay, yeah, and it's a little jump.
It wasn't sequential.
It wasn't sequential, but no, this wasn't my idea or anything. But then came B4. Okay, this was around when Peter King and Tamara K Pro productions of Bang. They were going to film Bang the Machine, and now the incentive for this tournament was the best overall player would qualify to be on Team USA to fly to Japan. This is they were going to set up a big Team USA versus Team Japan on versus based on overall points of each game. The games were Marvel 2, Third Strike, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Wait, so the
And
guys,
Super Turbo.
the guys behind Bang the Machine set up the event?
No, they sponsored the event.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
they paid the airfare and to stay there. Really
Oh, I
nice
see.
crew, and they filmed us. Me and a couple of top players, Choi Watson, Eddie Lee, they've APOC. And if you guys haven't seen Bang the Machine the movie, they filmed the events before the tournament, and then they filmed the tournament to see. I was the most overall winner, and then came John Watson. You guys got to see it. I don't want to, spoil
Right,
the
yeah.
Bang the Machine.
Yeah,
I
can't
don't wanna,
spoil Bang the Machine.
Can't spoil.
Classic.
It's a classic movie.
It's really important for everybody out there in the scene who hasn't seen it to really see it. I mean, I don't really know how they can see it now without going to Evo, even though they don't even have it at Evo every year,
Well,
which is disappointing.
that's why you got to go to Evo, guys. But it was really it was something else. Winning at your home turf is one thing. Even defending is another thing. But when you're on the path to beating somebody else's champion in their home turf,
in their country,
across
across the world,
that's fucking Street Fighter, man.
Yeah, that's World Warrior status.
That's fucking World Warrior, bro. You don't.
You are the World Warrior.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped being nervous in tournaments a long time ago. That shit just opened up a whole new can of butterflies, dude. I was like, I'm looking around, foreign, everything. I don't even know how they play. I don't know anything about these guys. Nothing. It's like playing 10 Daigos. I don't even know. It's like that came up again. I'm thinking in the back of my head, I'm going to play the guy that beat me in my fucking home turf. Plus his buddies. So it's fucking it's on. It's so on. Well, like again, I don't want to spoil it for any of you guys, but I did really well. Okay, I did really well. The team did pretty well. It's just some of the games were blown away. Like Third Strike, we were blown away, and then Super Turbo was really close, but it wasn't enough because we got blown away in Third Strike. We did pretty decent in the other games. But it also taught me, actually us, that these guys, I mean, as much grudge or competitive spirit you want to hold against anybody, the Japanese are fucking cool, dude. The players, like, you're there, you're practicing in their random arcades, and then you have Kuni be like, "Oh, hey, to let you know, this guy, number one Akuma in Japan, all of Japan. This guy, number one V Sangif in all of Japan. This guy, this guy, number one Kami, but Super X is not here. You know."
Oh man, I've never heard your Japanese accent before.
You know, yeah, dude. I love Kuni. Kuni's badass, but everybody there like was really nice, man. And
oh yeah,
the Japanese players, they accommodated us. Oh my gosh, like when we wanted a drink and it was late or something, Matsuda-san, which was usually the main SBO coordinator at the time, and he also did a lot of the Game Newton tournaments with KSK. He would make sure that we were all taken care of. You know, we want to drink at fucking 2, 3, whatever in the morning. Want to eat somewhere here. Want to talk shit to each other, even though we don't even know what the hell we're saying. We can just look at it and we can look at each other and know we're talking shit. We're all good times, man. Good times. So that just opened up the Japanese, like in our soul, like we open up to them, dude. They come down here, we treat them with the most utmost respect.
Yeah.
And we love them for it. We love what their skill, the work they put into their game, and how they distribute it to the web. They don't have to hide anything. They play their best character like all the time, and like they play their hardest every fun game. You can't ask for anything more.
Yeah.
And it
was a great experience.
It was a great experience, man.
Great experience. So, I mean, after that, it was what, then the first SBO came around?
Yeah, third visit to Japan. Now I'm meeting, I remember Pyro Lee on the come up. He came to my arcade, Southern Hills Golf, and wanted to challenge me for money. Yoon versus whoever I had, whatever. And, the standard money match there was a 5-game minimum, $20 a game, 5-game minimum. Just
I like that.
Yeah.
We don't really have that anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't that now, but back then that's how it was.
$20 a game back then was a lot of money.
Yeah, $20 a game back then, and 5-game minimum. And I think I came out with like $80, even though I let him try to get his money back. But I mean, I knew he had some potential. He knew the Gyun combos, but I overlooked him because I never saw the kid before. But he's calling me out, so I'm like, I don't really have many people call me out. So I actually, I took that serious. I had some cockiness behind me, yeah. But you know what? He had the balls to call me out. Nobody really did at the time.
And you were like, what, 22?
Yeah, I was older now. He was young.
17.
Yeah, he was 17. I'm like 22 now. Coming of age, and lo and behold, we have a qualifier tournament at Camelot. I remember that. Paul Lee came out of like nowhere, and he practiced. He practiced Shotos with us, me, Watson, and Don.
Was it singles or teams?
This was singles. This is
top
weird.
3 got to go?
Yeah.
Or there were 3 separate tournaments?
No, it was the top 3.
Oh.
I qualified, Pyro Lee qualified, and Paul Lee. And getting to know, there's like new school to me. This is the Third Strike crowd, and this is where like now I'm just trying to maintain a game that I think I know at the time. I didn't really master it like I did alpha games. I just played it to of how a top player plays a new game. Yeah, and just to, and when you get to that level, you can kind of find out like, hey, there's a new game. What can I do? What can I not do? All right? And how am I going to prevent everybody else from finding anything new with the amount of skill that I have in such a short amount of time? But that can only go so far. I was actually the weakest player out of them two in Japan. I forced Paul Lee to play Chun-Li because I thought I had the better Ken. Here's the thing: I wasn't thinking then. I was thinking, I was a better player. Maybe I should like anchor and do this. No, Paul plays Ken for a reason. He qualified with Ken. Even though I told him to pick Chun Li, anybody can pick up Chun Li. I should have picked up Chun Li, and did it. But no, I took him out of his best character, which was my fault. I should have not done that, and I regret it. And what happened? He even did better than I did. I didn't know the matchups like he did. He knew the matchups better than I did at the time.
Why didn't you know? Why did they know it better than you? I mean, why didn't you take Third Strike like to the same level that you took Alpha 3?
I played a lot of like not just Street Fighter, but I played King of Fighters for a bit. I played Fatal Fury. I played Tekken. So jumping from game to game, I only played what was hot at the time. Like Tekken 3 was really hot, and I played that. And it was around the time where Street Fighter 3 came out, and it was a very easy game to play. So I really, parry here, parry there. It's a very easy game to play.
You didn't think there was a lot to it?
No, not at all. I didn't really think there was a lot to it.
But Pyro and Paul were dedicated Third Strike players.
Yes, they were dedicated, and and I saw it. I'm like, okay, they're really into this freaking game, and I thought just from the skill I had, I was trying to even it up. They knew the matches better than I did, but I was just a better one-on-one player. I can beat them, but I'm not looking at the big picture. They can beat the people that I don't have a clue to, like the oddball characters or whatnot, like Elena's or whatever. I lost to an Elena player, and then Paul was trying to coach me, and I'm like, fuck, dude, he's right, but it's too late. So I learned, like, I can't be the best at everything unless I know the game inside and out. I should give more respect to the people that put their time into a game,
into one game,
into one game, than just trying to come out there and say, hey, you know what, I'm the number one versatile guy, I should do this and dictate that without a real game plan. No, it just doesn't work that way. So I learned a lot. If I were any team today, I would take all their advices very seriously instead of just putting them out on the back burner. Because that's what I did. I was a cocky kid at the time, and I thought I was I had the situation under control.
Right. So would you say that, now, you're just focused on, Street Fighter 4?
Right now, definitely. Street Fighter 4, it made a lot of people come back out of, their house.
Included?
Yeah. But that's not the only game I'll be playing. Like when Blaze Blue comes out, I'll be playing that. The word is out. I tested the game just only in localization testing, no balance issues or anything like that. So I had a 2 weeks hands-on by myself on it. It's a very fun game. I enjoy it a lot.
When's it coming out?
They say, according to Access Games, mid-November on the arcades.
So we got a little bit of a wait, but then it'll be out.
Yeah.
So, after this learning experience, at the first SBO, how did that change things in the scene and for you?
Well, after that, I can see that, I lost. It was a tough loss for the team. And I'm thinking, but I did really well the very first time I went to Japan with Team USA at B4. What happened? Am I getting old? Are the new kids getting better? It's just it's time for a change. Am I focusing much on Street Fighter anymore, or what am I doing? Am I not respecting the up and coming players as much? And now I can see what's happening. Yeah, I kept overlooking, new talent. I started to work more full time, and I had a girlfriend, my ex at the time, and that took a lot away from
real life. Started to catch up.
Yeah, exactly. That started to catch up, and I stopped playing. Like around CVS 2 came out, I kind of like. Uh, I didn't really play that as much um, towards the middle or end at all. Like at the beginning, I played it, and this is where Combo Fiend came in to come out. Combo Fiend was my rival at the time, and he came out, and we were going back at it, back and forth, and he started winning more tournaments, and inevitably today he's one of the best players. He built a really good foundation for that kid. I mean, of course, his expertise was in Marvel, but he's another breed like me that can play other games. I was one of the first to get out of the whole Street Fighter thing and start playing other games.
Mm.
And so consoles came out, and then for all these respective games, and that's another story where what I'm used to playing on 360s and perfect controllers is not existent anymore. Now I got to rely on some guy's mouse stick, which doesn't feel the same, and the versions of the games aren't even the same either. Like the speed differences.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for anybody who wasn't around back then, I mean, this was 2004-ish, 2005 maybe, when there was like a really big push towards console, and a lot of players, myself included, were like, this is terrible. Having your own stick is not the best solution. We need to be playing on arcade. We need to be playing on arcade boards because that's what the games are meant for. So, I mean, this was around the time where you kind of took a little break.
Yeah, I definitely didn't practice at all at console games. Like, I had them. I did combos here and there, but I mean,
it's different.
It's different. I didn't want to. I was so against it, man. I'm like, you know what? I can probably still play. Back in the days, you go into a new area, new tournament, new arcade you haven't been to or wherever. You got to play in a tournament there. You got to play with their sticks. That's it. You can't. You don't have the luxury of saying, "Oh, well, these aren't perfect 360s. I don't want to play here." No. Well, you traveled fucking, 2,000, 3,000 miles away. You're gonna play on those sticks. So I had that same mentality. Okay, I'm gonna go play a fucking CVS 2 on console. I played it on arcade. I shouldn't have a problem. Oh, roll cancel timing is a little different. Well, shit, it's faster on fucking consoles, way faster. And the characters seem smaller to me. And what are these monitors that I'm playing on?
Yeah.
What is this? This doesn't even feel right. And this controller is sliding out of my fucking lap.
Mm-hmm.
Like crap. I don't want to do this. It turned me off from the scene. So I focused on work. And this, I took a big break. I would say from like 2002 to like 2006. I really did not focus on Street Fighter as much anymore. I played on here and there tournaments, but I never really practiced at all. But
so what was it that brought you back?
It was okay. 2004 was when that whole it's when Third Strike actually really took a turn in this country. Everybody knows about the whole Daigo Perry thing versus Justin. And I was yet again that close to beating Daigo because I played Daigo in Super Turbo, but I lost. And everybody wants to beat the best. Want to pick on them. And I've had my time of being the best, but not in the world. Who was the last person to beat me like that? It was Daigo. So I thought, okay, when is this kid gonna come back again? I'm always gonna call him a kid because he's younger than me. So I practiced Third Strike again, hardcore. Regardless, if it was on console, I played it on console. I went to a couple FFA Rambats. I rarely ever go to those, but I went to a couple, and I busted it out right. People, they had their shits and giggles. It wasn't like Frankie's Ryu, but it was still entertaining. I traveled to Texas Showdown. I won with Ryu over there, and V Time I won actually with Ken over there. Ryu and Ken. So, I think, all right, now that I have the momentum, kind of like when I was practicing on the Alpha series. Okay, I've practiced the game. I'm trying to learn it inside out. I have the momentum to do really well at Evo 2006, and I played Daigo and I beat him. And
On the big screen.
on the big screen, I beat him on AE as well, Street Fighter Anniversary Edition.
What was that like?
Well, when I played, I knew it was garbage. Honestly, we both played really like shit. He was out of practice, and me mostly it was a stick issue. I didn't have my controller. I had to borrow somebody else's stick.
What
My
happened?
controller broke down,
Oh, I see.
so I didn't want to hit confirm anymore. I didn't want to do what I didn't. My game plan went out the window. It was all about being safe now. You can tell we were just being safe. Daigo's good regardless if he's practiced or not. He still got up there. If you were practicing all year long to say that Daigo was scrubby or I was scrubby and you still can't even get up to our level, what does it say about you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you took
Right.
a lot of heat for.
Yeah, I did, of course. And you know
even
what?
though you won.
Yeah, even though I won. But, haters would be haters. But no,
But the bottom line is you beat him.
Yeah, I did beat him. Regardless if I play like shit, beat him. Watson played him for money afterwards. Watson
Oh, I
won
didn't hear
money.
about that.
I won money too. I played him for money too because we weren't satisfied with how we played, so we wanted to play him for money. And
So
we
how
did.
did those matches go?
I think Watson, beat him. I hope Watson can correct me, man. He won 5 games to 3 or 2. He did really well. If he can correct me on this, I'm pretty sure it's like that. I was the same. I think Hung lost a couple. Hung beat, but he might have won one. He played a couple series with them. Yeah.
So was Daigo playing a lot better than he was playing at the time? When you guys played your match on stage?
He played better. He played better for sure. But we can tell like at the tournament though it was crap. It was crap.
Unsatisfying.
Yeah, it was. I was unsatisfied. That kept me going to like, all right, no, fuck that. 2007. I need to do something here.
But then he didn't show.
Yeah, he didn't show, but
But you still did well.
I did well. That's the one where I got 3rd place, huh?
Yeah.
I played Amir and Justin, but it was one game. But if anybody recorded the Justin one, it was all about just who was solid, and I was more solid that game. It was one game I was most solid.
Yeah.
Versus Amir, I beat him up pretty bad. And he played Ed Maw too. He killed Ed Maw the game before me. So he had Ken practice right there, and I was next in line. And that's actually on YouTube. Me beating Amir in the last year. Even though Amir, most of the time from those past 3 years from there, he beat me up pretty bad. He really did. His Chun-Li was a Ken killer or Shoto killer. I won't deny him of that. He was the best Chun-Li player.
Yeah, Amir's a beast.
Yeah.
So, you took a break. You came back because you wanted to pound on Daigo and, have your shot at being the best in the world. Now, with Street Fighter 4 and Daigo playing Street Fighter 4, is that why you're so focused and ready to go with Street Fighter 4? Because Daigo is also, back?
Well, it's a new Street Fighter. That's for one. If a new Street Fighter game comes out, I'm gonna play it, even if it's crappy or whatnot. It's just, that's for the love of the game. Okay, Daigo playing it is a plus because I know that guy's potential. He was a Darkstalkers champion to an Alpha champion to, Super Turbo. He's a fucking very, very gifted, versatile player. Knowing that foreigners that are that good in a level, if you haven't played these guys, you don't understand how it is in real life because you can probably look up to you can probably look up to your favorite American players, which is cool and all, but we respect, coming from a top player, we respect the foreigners as well. I'll never overlook them like I did back then because, you don't know what to expect, man.
Right, yeah. I mean, you don't really know what it's like to play the Japanese until you played them on their home turf.
Oh, yeah. You go to their random arcades and you're playing against some guy in a business suit with his leg crossed.
No, man, right? That's my favorite.
With the cigarette going right there. And his arms are up. He's not like his back is all like concentrated and focused on the screen. No, he's toking a toke while you're getting hit by a raging demon. It's like...
It's unreal.
Yeah.
Nothing like it in America.
No. This is very, very calm, very poised.
These guys. Do you have to get out of here?
Pretty soon. You want to wrap it up?
It's like 6. Because I mean, we can, I just like made a mark so I can like cut this part out. Because we can totally wrap it up like right here.
Yeah,
okay.
We can wrap it up.
All right, so I mean, wow, that was a really good history of definitely one of the greatest Street Fighter players of all time. I mean, what's next? I mean, Street Fighter 4 champion of the world?
Of course, man. My thing is to, I am a crowd favorite. I want to really show people the potential of having fun with a new game again instead of
it's been so long.
Yeah, it's been so long. I want like playing with you or playing with Kenai or anybody. I want to have that interaction to where we're all learning again. We're all learning again. We're discussing new strats. This is all new again.
It is. It's
and
so
and it's like okay, you haven't seen your ex in a while, right? And then here she comes. And,
oh my god!
And it's like it's refreshing. It's refreshing, and so, of course, my competitive spirit, man. Justin's the man to play in this game. I hear he did really well here. So
yeah, he did. He beasted on us while he was over here.
No, that's
2 weekends ago.
That's good. That's good. I mean, he's like the exception of the rule to somebody who really doesn't have comp in your area because that's a gifted player.
Yeah.
He's. I could honestly say he is the next me.
Absolutely. Well, Alex, thank you very much for your time. Next time we can get some more actual strategy and whatnot out of the way. But, I wanted to really give people an opportunity to hear about, a lot of the stuff, they might have heard, but they've never heard it firsthand from you. And I think that that's really important because, like I said earlier, you guys were like pioneers. And it's because of you guys that we even have this thing that we have today. Because had you guys never gone and, taking the chances and traveling, not just, to Japan, but, all around the country, I mean, we wouldn't have this thing that we have today. So, thanks for your time. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So for anybody out there who is listening that's not yet subscribed to the iTunes feed, please go to gootex.com, click on the subscribe with iTunes button, and you'll get all the new episodes downloaded to your computer automatically. And next time the guest is who knows. But yeah, me and Alex are working on a little project. So as we work on that, I'm sure we'll hear some more from me and you out of that.
Yeah, you guys will understand what it you guys will understand what it feels like to actually win more than ever. You'll just your eyes will finally open.
Sounds good.
I guarantee that.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it. All right. We'll see you guys next time.